Did I just witness what I think I just witnessed? Oh, are you talking about how the Preds won a game with almost all of their scoring coming from defensemen? Seems like old times around here, at least for this game. Yeah, there's that, but they beat the Oilers. They beat the Oilers. Quick stretch for something I haven't done in a while. Everybody's hands go up, way up, as the Nashville Predators defeat the Edmonton Oilers in overtime by a score of 4-3 Monday night inside Bridgestone Arena. I don't know what's more uncommon right now for the Preds. A win versus the Oilers, one that they got the first time in 9 tries, or a power play goal overall, the first time the Preds scored that in their last 22 attempts. If you told me coming into this game that the Oilers were going to score at least 3 goals, I'd say, yeah, that's probably going to be enough for 9 straight wins by the Oilers over the Preds. But on the other hand, if you told me as well that Zach Hyman, Leon Draisaitl, and Connor McDavid would not score a goal, any one of them, then I'd think, yeah, maybe the Preds have a chance. Valley Sports South at the beginning of tonight's broadcast was sure to remind us all that this is the third and final meeting between the Oilers and the Preds this season. And I was like, in my mind and on Twitter, good, thank God, no more pain this year at the hands of Draisaitl, McDavid, or Hyman. Second meeting in 7 days between these two teams. Preds electing to start Saros in this game, having started Lankinen in the last game. The Oilers electing to go with Jack Campbell again, as they were successful last week with him in net inside Bridgestone Arena. A man who they signed intending him to be their number 1 goalie this season, but he's certainly, if you look at the game recaps for the Oilers, their number 2 goalie right now. Preds with the early lead in shots on goal, applying more pressure, getting into the dirty areas, cycling the puck more, and you know what happens more times than not? When you do the hard work, it leads to success, and it leads to this. Recent Preds call-up from Milwaukee, Preds prospect Tommy Novak, who has been exceeding with the Admirals, leading their division in the AHL, leads the Preds into the offensive Oilers zone, and he backhands it on net, gets a shot on Campbell, perfectly timed rebound that squirts out to Matthias Ekholm, who is there to pick up the garbage and bang it home past Jack Campbell before he can slide over to stop it. Only his second of the season. The Preds lead this one 1-0. If you will remember, the Preds had a 1-0 lead in the game against the Oilers last week before proceeding to be outscored 5-2 for the rest of the game. But tonight was different. Cole Smith would have to serve a holding call against Warren Foegele later on, and I forgive you if you looked at the box score and saw that the Oilers would eventually go 2 for 3 on a power play and think, oh, maybe if they scored on that third chance, this game doesn't go into overtime. No, yes, it still would. It just would have been even worse stats for the Preds penalty kill, boosting up the Oilers power play, because even though the Preds had a great chance to make it 2-0 on a 2-on-1 shorthanded chance, Tanner Jeannot is not able to get it into the net. The Oilers persist. Their power play expires, but Jesse Puljujarvi follows up on a rebound that maybe Saros should have had. Oh well, doesn't matter now. It's in the net. The Oilers have tied this game at 1. Preds with some more pressure. They just have a different feel to them in this game. Maybe if they would do that more often, they would get more wins and he wouldn't have just went through a 6-game losing streak. But just about 6 minutes left to go in the first period. Preds in the Oilers zone, attacking the Oilers net. Jack Campbell, the one thing he can't help right now is his rebound control. It is shot. And a great chance comes right out after a Preds rebound to Matt Duchene, but Campbell is somehow able to keep it out of his net. Eventually, McDavid starts heating up. Him and Draisaitl and Zach Hyman, who are expected to carry the load for the Oilers offense, are getting more chances. At one point, McDavid is able to weave his way through Preds forwards and Preds defensemen, getting the attention on him, and gets the puck over to Zach Hyman, who is able to get barely a shot because Dante Fabro does something right. He ties up a stick. Preds' best chance to score is late in the first period when a pinching Alexander Carey, that's not the last time you would hear his name in this game, is able to get the puck over to Tanner Jeannot, and Jack Campbell is able to get just enough on it to turn it aside. The first period ends tied at 1. Preds with the slight edge in shots, 14-10. What kind of game is this I'm watching right now? The Preds' strong effort in the first is reflected in their effort early in the second period, and wouldn't you know it, about 3 minutes into the second period, after a face-off win by Ryan Johansson, he gets the puck back to the point to Jordan Gross, and through a screen, Jack Campbell has no chance. He just takes a shot on net. It may have tipped in past Tyson Barrie. Jack Campbell has no chance. It's in the net. The Preds lead again. Jordan Gross's third of the season after he was recently called up from Milwaukee due to injuries on the Preds blue line. 2 of his 3 goals I got to see in person over a month ago. Preds retake the lead. They're now up 2-1 on the Oilers. About a little later after the Preds retake the lead, though, the Preds are being aggressive, getting chances in the Oilers zone, and Phil Forsberg is driving towards the net, and he goes falling into Jack Campbell. And we're all like, what the hell just happened? And they're going to call goalie interference on Phil Forsberg. Oh, but would you look at that? We have 2 blind mice acting as referees because they don't see that Phil Forsberg was pushed into Jack Campbell by Mikael Grenland. And Mikael Grenland would never do that to his own teammate. Oh yes, it's Pouliot of the Oilers who pushes Mikael Grenland, who falls into Forsberg, who falls into Campbell. You're telling me that the refs could see that it was a penalty, but they also couldn't see that an Oilers player started the whole ruckus? Anyways, yep, what pretty much happens because when a bad penalty gets called against you, I don't know how many of you remember, I think it was the year that they made it to the finals, they lost to the Blackhawks around Christmas late in the game because Craig Smith got tripped by Corey Crawford in net for the Blackhawks. And what did Smith do because he wasn't ready for it? He ended up tripping Crawford. And he gets a goalie interference even though it was the other player who did it. The refs, open your eyes. But nevertheless, the Oilers on the power play don't take very long. Barely 30 seconds, I think. And Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is able to bury it home past Saros, tying this game back up at 2. We've reached halfway through the second period. This game, amazingly, I guess for the Preds' sake, and they'll take it, is tied at 2, even though the Preds outshooting the Oilers by a total of 20-14. Just over halfway through the second period, though, Oilers player Koskinen slashes Matt Duchene. Oh, and here we go again. All Preds Nation, including myself, thinking, oh, look, we get to waste 2 minutes because the Preds can't set up to actually get a power play goal. But the man who drew the penalty, who has been the recipient of taking some bad penalties that cost the Preds in the past, in the third period, makes up for it here. And what have I been calling for? After a beautiful zone entry by Mikael Grenland, he gets the puck over to number 95, Matt Duchene, who skates right in. He is the recipient of a bad poke check attempt by Jack Campbell, and as he's lowered, Matt Duchene is able to lift the puck, flutter over Jack Campbell's back. It's in the net. The Preds have a power play going. Most importantly, they have retaken the damn lead. Preds up 3-2. And I don't know what it is, but on a post-goal celebration, you know who was the excited one? No, it wasn't Matt Duchene. He thought, oh, yeah, I do this every day. You know who was more excited, even though he didn't score? It was Cody Glass, who did everything without wrapping his arms around Matt Duchene, not to give him a bear hug and lift him into the air. A power play goal by Matt Duchene broke an 0-for-21 drought by the Preds. So basically what you're telling me is I should expect the Preds power play this season to be like Haley's Comet. Under 4 minutes left in the second, Zach Hyman gets a beautiful chance, and UC Saros is dialed in and keeps that chance out of his net. Zach Hyman will be called upon once again, almost as time expires in the second period, but UC Saros bars the door. Preds' 3-2 lead remains intact after 40 minutes. Just over a minute into the third period, the Preds give the Oilers a chance. It's the unfortunate thing when you do this, to tie this game back up, Ryan Johansson with a high sticking call on Warren Foegele, and wouldn't you know it, on the ensuing power play about 30 seconds in, through a screen of Matthias Ekholm and Colton Sissons, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins off the pipe and in. This game is all square again, tied at 3. Almost 5 minutes into the third, the Preds are keeping up their good offensive zone entries and pressure, Puck is cycling well. Puck comes down low to Jack Campbell's left. He's down and out on his pad. Cody Glass is on the wrong hand because he can't backhand it up and over to take the lead. But Cody Glass would be hurt again in this game. Preds catch a break in this one as the Oilers are forced to play with 5 defensemen in the third and onwards as Evan Bouchard has left the Oilers bench and does not return. Under 10 minutes left to go in regulation, the Preds and Oilers still exchanging chances. Oilers not giving up, but the Preds are desperate to end their losing woes and end their losing streak against this Edmonton Oilers squad. A whole 7 minutes or so is able to be played in this game without a whistle. Can you believe it? And these teams are content after a stoppage with 91 seconds left to let the rest of the game play out. Nothing else happens in regulation. We're tied at 3 after the third period. Best chance early in overtime is a 2-on-1 with Leon Draisaitl and Darnell Nurse burrowing down on UC Saros. And Darnell Nurse takes a pass from Draisaitl but can't beat Saros. What a save by number 74. And here I was as overtime continued, expecting, okay, get it over with. When are the Oilers finally going to oil against the Preds and beat them either in overtime or the eventual shootout? But boy, would I be proven wrong. This Preds team that has struggled so much against the Oilers, well, after such a night up to this point by the blue line for this team, a certain member of the Preds blue line who has missed a handful of games would say, don't worry boys, I got this. Cody Glass from behind Saros' net can see that the Blues have decided to take a line change. And he's got a wide open avenue down a left wing board to a certain member of the Preds blue line. So Cody Glass says, here you go, stretch pass up the left wing board. Alexander Carey says, thank you, buddy. Goes in on a 2-on-1 into the Edmonton zone, right in on Jack Campbell. He's got Matt Duchene with him. Only Tyson Berry to beat, who sprawls to try and block a pass. Well, Carey says, no problem, I got this. He shoots it on net, beats Jack Campbell glove side. The Preds win in overtime 4-3. They must feel like Susan Lucci if just for the moment the streak versus the Edmonton Oilers is over. The Preds are not out of the woods yet, not by a long shot. But a win now and then puts a smile on your face, makes you feel a little bit better about the team that you invest so much time on, because you knew certainly that this team wasn't going to lose like 50 in a row. Yeah, you don't want to get false hope. You either want to know if they're a playoff team or know if they're a lottery team. Most likely a lottery team. But a win now and then for what ails you in life is a nice recipe to make you feel full, if just for one game. So on the way to finding out if this team will be a fledgling playoff team or a lottery team, I have to start off by saying, well, would you look at that? Edmonton Oilers are human after all. Sure, they scored 3 goals in this game and made every Preds fan everywhere very, very nervous, but somehow the Preds played well defensively, because those 3 goals were not scored at all by the trio that torched you last week on Tuesday of the combination of Zach Hyman, Connor McDavid, and Leon Draisaitl. I saw some people on Twitter and other social media today posting their sports parlays on the Preds Oilers game alone. I certainly hope that doesn't go for a lot of you. Sure, I made my prediction on this game at the end of Saturday's Preds fan reaction video, and oh boy, am I glad I didn't guarantee a victory for the Oilers in this game like I did last week. Sans Jersey guy do this whole recap all by himself. But I, for one, bet with my heart on the 2 teams that I love in professional sports. I don't bet with my wallet. Oh, and look where it's got me these last 20 years with the Preds and two-tone blue. But as for this game, 6-game losing streak over. 8-game losing streak versus the Oilers over until next season. You are done with this team this year. Unless, of course, you pull off a miracle and make the playoffs. Now, it's no time to rest on your laurels. You get back to work at practice tomorrow. Show that you learned something from this game and are turning this team in the right direction by going to Chicago to play the lowly Chicago Blackhawks Wednesday night in the United Center. And then finish off going into the Christmas break league-wide on Friday night on a high by defeating at home the team that eliminated you from the playoffs last year, the Colorado Avalanche. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. As always, click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really like it. You can find my social media by clicking on a channel name. Tell all your friends about Redemption, and we'll see how this week ends up playing out. But it could very well be a very merry Predsmas after all.